Hi, so I'm going to show you how to use effectively analinky paints. I know a couple of you have been asking about it, so I'm just going to do a quick tutorial on how to use watercolor paints and analinky paints. So watercolor paints, you would use maybe a little bit more, and you would apply more of a water base onto your actual paper first, whereas analinky paints, you would, because they're ink based, you would apply less paint and use quite a lot of water as well. Okay, so as you notice here, these are my analinky paints, and I've got my lid is quite dirty with different colours. What you need to do is, if you are mixing a certain colour, you need to obviously do that a little bit in here. So if I wanted, for example, a certain type of green, I would add that in there with a little bit of water. So I'll just show you there. So adding it in, add in a little bit of water, and then add in a different shade, maybe different tone of green, until you've got your desired colour. Obviously I keep adding water every time, so this is adding my water bit. Okay, so add a little bit more dark green until you're happy with that shade. Now when you're applying it, so obviously you're going to use this bit here, so I'm going to have a look at this here, and I'm going to apply a small amount. Now when I say a small amount, I mean like literally that. Okay, so if you're looking at a particular artist that uses like drips or it flows down, you're going to apply a small amount. You need to work quite quickly. Wash your paintbrush, and then from the edge here, you're going to just tease that down with the water. Look how fluid it is. It's quite watery, it's quite wet. And then you can go back if you wanted to and add it in, maybe a smaller amount of the darker green over the top. Again, it's the tiniest amount. Wipe your paintbrush. I'm kind of dabbing, okay? Dab and drag type thing. Might be that you want a little bit more of the different tones in there. Add in a little bit of the lighter green. Look how much of a small amount that I'm getting. It's the tiniest bit. You still want it to be quite fluid. And you would drag it down. You can dab it with like a paper towel or a piece of tissue, but sometimes you get a little bit of texture with that. If you want to fade it out, drag it from the bottom, okay? And that would be your watercolour bit. Now, what some people have done is this. So I'll just show you there. They've got the colour and they've gone like this. So they've got quite a lot of paint, which makes it very, very bright. Now if you were using normal watercolor paints, you might need a larger amount, but it's going to be too bright and too vibrant. So if I then add in a little bit of orange in that, it's going to be very, very intense. So it's going to take quite a lot for you to try and make that lighter. So always drag that from the bottom, not the whole thing. Okay, lots of water. See, it's still quite intense there. You can go back and blend some of those, but it's not as, it's too intense. So if I did a smaller amount, so I'll just show you here, you can kind of build up these layers. Drag it from the bottom, so where it ends, add in a little bit of that orange, tiny bit, wash your paintbrush, you don't have to use the whole amount. Drag that down and up into the red. Now that red's disappeared a little bit, so I'm just going to add a bit more. Blend it in, because it's quite fluid, it will easily just blend together. And then wash my paintbrush thoroughly this time. And then right from the bottom, I'm just going to fade it out because I don't want to keep dragging it down. Okay, this one at the top has gone quite watery. You just might need to remove some excess, not adding any paint, and just literally like turning my paintbrush slightly just to remove some of that and washing it. Okay, or like I said, you can dab it with a paper towel or a tissue, okay, to get that desired effect. So obviously, just to recap, we've got mixing our palette in our lids, which is great to get a specific tone. Adding a small amount of paint at one time and dragging it out using the water from the edge, and not applying too much at the time. You can always layer up and you can always come back and add some more. Okay, so and that is how you create different types of analinky outcomes.